Om Jnanandvinandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to our ISKCON official YouTube channel. Today I am going to discuss Isopanisad mantra 8. Sapariga Chukram Akayam Abranam Asnaviram Suddham Apapavidham Kabir Manisi Paribhu Swambho Yathatyato Arthan Vedadhat Shaswativya Samabhya. That means such a person must actually know the greatest of all, the personality of Godhead, who is unembodied, omniscient, beyond reproach, without offense, pure and uncontaminated, the self-sufficient philosopher who has been fulfilling everyone's desire since time immemorial. This is the definition of the Lord. A very nice verse. Here is a description of the transcendental and eternal form of the absolute personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord is not formless. He has his own transcendental form, which is not at all similar to the forms of the mundane world. The forms of the living entities in this world are embodied in material nature, and they work like any material machine. The anatomy of a material body must have a mechanical construction with veins and so forth. But the transcendental body of the Supreme Lord has nothing like veins. It is clearly stated here that he is unembodied, which means that there is no difference between his body and his soul. Nor is he forced to accept a body according to the laws of nature, as we are. In material condition life, the soul is different from the gross embodiment and subtle mind. For the Supreme Lord, however, there is never any such difference between him and his body and his mind. He is the complete whole, and his mind, body, and he himself are all one and the same. In the Brahma Samhita 5.1 it is stated, there is a similar description of the Supreme Lord. He described the air as Satchidananda Vigraha, which means that he is the eternal form, fully representing transcendental existence, knowledge, and bliss. As such, he doesn't require a separate body or mind as we do in material existence. The Vedic literature clearly states that the Lord's transcendental body is completely different from ours, thus he is sometimes described as formless. This means that he has no form like ours, and that he is devoid of a form we can conceive of. In the Brahma Samhita 5.32, it is further stated that with each and every part of his body, he can do the work of the other senses. This means that the Lord can walk with his hands, accept things with his legs, see with his hands and feet, eat with his eyes, etc. In the Shruti mantras, it is also said that although the Lord has no hands and legs like ours, he has a different type of hands and legs by which he can accept all that we offer him and run faster than everyone. These points are confirmed in the eighth mantra through the use of words like Shukram. Shukram means all powerful, omnipotent. The Lord's worshipable form, Archa Vigraha, which is installed in temples by authorized acharyas who have realized the Lord in terms of mantra 7, is none different from the original form of the Lord. The Lord's original form is that of Sri Krishna, and Sri Krishna expands himself into an unlimited number of forms, such as Baladeva, Rama, Nrsimha, and Varaha. All of those forms are one and the same personality of Godhead. Similarly, the Archa Vigraha worshipped in temples is also an expanded form of the Lord. By worshipping the Archa Vigraha, one can at once approach the Lord who accepts the service of a devotee by the omnipotent energy. The Archa Vigraha of the Lord descends at the request of the acharyas, the holy teachers, and works exactly in the original way of the Lord by virtue of the Lord's omnipotence. Foolish people who have no knowledge of Sri Isopanisad or any of the other Shruti mantras consider the Acharya Vigrahas which were worshipped by pure devotees to be made of material elements. This form may be seen as material by the imperfect eyes of foolish people or Kanishadhikaris, but such people do not know that the Lord, being omnipotent and omniscient, can transform matter into spirit and spirit into matter as it desires. In the Bhagavad Gita 9, 11 to 12 they describe that. Avajanati mang modha, like that. So the Lord regrets the fallen condition of men with little knowledge who deride him because he descends like a man into this world. Thus poorly informed persons do not know the omnipotence of the Lord, thus the Lord doesn't manifest himself in full to the mental speculators. He can be appreciated only in the proportion to one's surrender to him. The fallen condition of the living entities is due entirely to forgetfulness of their relationship with God. In this matter, as well as in many other Vedic mantras, it is clearly stated that the Lord has been supplying goods to the living entities from time immemorial. A living being desires something and the Lord supplies the object of that desire in proportion to one's qualification. If a man wants to be a high court judge, he must acquire not only the necessary qualifications but also the consent of the authority who can award the title of high court judge. The qualifications in themselves are insufficient for one to occupy the post. It must be awarded by some superior authority. Similarly, the Lord awards enjoyment to living entities in proportion to their qualifications. But good qualifications in themselves are not sufficient to enable one to receive awards. The mercy of the Lord is also required. Ordinarily, the living beings doesn't know what to speak, what to ask from the Lord, nor who is supposed to seek. When the living being comes to know this constitutional position, however, he has to be accepted into the transcendental association of the Lord in order to render transcendental loving service unto him. That is the highest fortune. Unfortunately, living beings under the influence of material nature ask for money other than many other things, and they are described in the Bhagavad Gita 241, Bhavasayatmika Buddhi. That means as having divided or split intelligence, spiritual intelligence is one, but mundane intelligence is diverse in Srimad Bhagavatam 7, 5, 30 to 31. Also it is stated, now the vidhu sarthagating Vishnu. We do not know what is our real interest. So forgetting this, one tries to adjust things by various plans and programs, but this is like chewing what has already been chewed. Nonetheless, the Lord is so kind that he allows the forgetful living being to continue in this way without interference. Thus, this mantra of Sri Upanishad uses the very appropriate word yathodhyatah. That means indicating that the Lord awards the living entity just in pursuance of their desires. If a living being wants to go to hell, the Lord allows him to do so without interference. And if he wants to go back to home, back to Godhead, the Lord helps him. Yathodhyatah. God is described here as prabhu. Prabhu means the greatest of all. No one is greater than or equal to him. Other living beings are described here as beggars who ask goods from the Lord. The Lord supplies the things the living entities desire. If the entities were equal to the Lord in potency, if they are omnipotent and omniscient, there would be no question of the begging from the Lord. Even for so-called liberation, real liberation means going back to Godhead. Liberation as conceived of by an impersonality is a myth, and begging for sense gratification has to continue eternally unless the beggar comes to his spiritual senses and realizes his constitutional position. Only the Supreme Lord is self-sufficient. When Lord Krishna appeared on earth 5,000 years ago, he displayed his full manifestation as the personality of Godhead through his various activities. In his childhood, he killed many powerful demons such as Aghasura, Bakasura and Shakatasura, and there is no question of his having acquired such power through any extraneous endeavor. He lifted Govardhan hill without ever practicing weightlifting. He danced with the gopis without social restrictions and without reproach. Although the gopis approached him with paramount feelings of love, and the relationship between the gopis and the Lord Krishna was worshipped even by Lord Chaitanya, who was a strict sannyasi and rigid follower of discipline regulations. To confirm that the Lord is always pure and unconditioned, uncontaminated, Sri Iskopan describes him as Shuddham, Shuddham, pure, and Apavaviddham. So he is without sin. So he is antiseptic in the sense that even an impure thing can become purified just by touching him. The word Apavaviddham is prophylactic, refers to the power of his association, as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 9:30-31. Apichet Sudaracharo bhajate mamananava. A devotee may appear to be so Sudaracharo, not well behaved in the beginning, but he should be accepted as pure devotee because he is on the right path. This is due to the prophylactic nature of the Lord's association. The Lord is also Apavaviddham because sin cannot touch him. Even if he acts in a way that appears to be sinful, such actions are all good, for there is no question of his being affected by sin. Because in all circumstances he is Shuddham, most purified. He is often compared to the sun. The sun extracts moisture from many untouchable places on the earth, yet it remains pure. In fact, it purifies obnoxious things by virtue of its sterilizing powers. If the sun, which is a material object, is so powerful, then we can hardly begin to imagine the purifying strength of the all-powerful Lord. So this is a very nice verse, verse 8. This describes about the Lord. So thank you very much for listening to this lecture, and please don't forget to subscribe, share, and like our channel, and get blessings of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.